please join me to welcome the Africa Regional Climate Change Coordinator of the United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, popularly known in Africa on the continent as the father of innovative volunteerism, our own son of the kingdom, Dr. Richard C. Munang.
Thank you so much, Dr. Victor. Thank you to AFOCOM USA. Thank you to the founder of the Komnamites group, Nawang Rosemary Ngong, to Mr. President Bobe Brian Chongwang and Vice President Nawai Mispa, and to Nawai Majorate, the project committee chair, and to the EXCO, and all Komnamites, both in the United States and abroad, all members, friends of Com, all protocol observed, as they say, Ayomnakiano Jum. It's a great honor for me and privilege to speak to you today, but not just because I am from Com, but because you could have picked from a pool of many people. Picking me to come and speak to you today, to me, is a very big honor. But let me start by saying this. Hearty congratulations to all of you for coming up and actively pursuing this noble and timely idea of the Vocational Assistant Project. It is said that when you teach someone to fish, instead of giving them fish, you feed them for a lifetime. Yes, this is what you have started. Yes, this is what you are doing, and the discussions today will only elevate this theme further to where it becomes a point of convergence. To bring impact to the entire Com community and even to the entire Cameroon community and Africa and the world at large. I speak today as a proud son of Com, of this wonderful and amazing community called Com, and my message to you seeks to answer a very fundamental question. What is the true meaning of Com? And how can we unleash it? Well, to me, Com is a feeling. To me, Com is character. To me, Com is selflessness. To me, Com is hard work. To me, Com is dedication. Com is courage. Com is vision. And Com is passion. The Bobes and Nawais of Com and friends of Com. So whether you are a native of Com or not, if you hold these values close to your heart, if you hold these values so dear to your heart, then you are Com and you should feel at home. Some of you may be wondering where I got this meaning, but we just need to look a little bit back. Throughout history, every succeeding generation has been called upon to do that which exceeds them and to learn from the successes and failures of those who went before them. This is what has always happened. We as Komnamites, no matter where we are at this moment, do not have to look too far back for lessons. It starts with an insightful Com proverb which says, when you harvest a garden egg, fix and know the branch. That's the meaning. The meaning of that Com proverb that I've just mentioned is harvested from one of my favorite branches of the tree of Com history, a branch about a critical event that was meant to totally decimate the Com people. But instead, it resulted in rewriting the history of Com people as a force reckoned with. I'm talking of the Com-German War of the 1904 and 1905. This history rewriting war, where a global superpower of the time suffered a humiliating defeat at the hands of a small community in a country they were trying to conquer, demanded that the best of Com be manifested. Yes, it did. And this best was manifested in the character of the Com people, a character that found its way into the war tactics that the German people could not survive. From clarity of vision of Com people, to boldness, to unity of purpose, to selflessness, and to collective self-reliance, to fidelity to a cause and homogeneous convergence on a shared interest to stop the enemy. This war revealed the best of Com's character. It reveals the best of values, and it is these values that define the real meaning of Com. That's what defines the real meaning of Com. Today, over a century later, our enemy and war is a different one. Our enemy is food insecurity. Our mothers going to bed because they cannot put food on the table. Yes, in the common community and in society, our enemy today is youth unemployment, poverty, is a vulnerability to environmental degradation, and all these socio-economic vices that have gripped our people income need to keep us awake. This should leave a scar on any one of us conscience, regardless of where we are and regardless of what we do. It should leave a scar in our conscience if we are not doing anything. But you, the Komnamites, you, the Kom youngster in the diaspora, are reviving and living the true meaning of Kom. Please clap for yourselves. Clap for yourself. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. But what we must be able to ask and answer at this particular time is, how is being a Komnamite important? How is being a Komnamite important? It is very, very fundamental for us because we need to understand this first principle, that there is a common riddle among Kom people. The riddle of a chameleon, a sluggish creature that championed the race with a rabbit, a creature many times faster. The question here is, how was the chameleon going to win such a race? How is the chameleon going to win such a race? The answer, by leveraging on all its strengths, its physical ability to cling, and the mental ability of being among the wisest of animals. The chameleon would win this race by clinging on the rabbit's tail and waiting to jump ahead of the rabbit at the finishing line. You, the Komnamites in the diaspora, are akin to this chameleon clinging on a rabbit's tail. You have a better shot at assessing opportunity. Yes, we do. For progress, as compared to our brothers and sisters back home in the Kom society and the Kom community. It is therefore required of each and every one of us to leverage these opportunities and get ahead, not just for ourselves and for our families, but for the hundreds of thousands of Kom people in the over 43 villages in the Kom society. The second aspect that is important, a common Kom proverb reminds us that a personal child is only in the womb. Out here, we all belong to the entire Kom community, but how you conduct yourself reflects not only on yourself, but on the entire Kom society. To put it bluntly, as a Komnamite in the diaspora, you and me are Kom roving ambassadors. Your conduct in anything you do, big or small, reflects either positively or negatively on all the over 340,000 Kom people back home. So let our conduct always reflect the true meaning of Kom, that character of purpose, that selflessness, that humility and kindness. And the third aspect of what it means being a Komnamite is, as someone who loved to meet birth situation, somebody's teeth are never too bad for him to laugh. The Kom proverb is a reminder that in whatever thing we do, context is important. Context is inevitable. This applies to the vocational assistance project before us today. Its success depends on how well it integrates into the social, economic, environmental, and financial context of the Kom community and Kom society, which reflect the greater Cameroon. When we speak about this, if we take the social dimension, we must remember that the population is youthful. Yes, but the youth here, I am not just talking about age. I'm not talking about chronological age, because age is not static. In a few years today, this youthful population will graduate out of the youthfulness. And we must consider aspects as we implement this very important project, which goes beyond the promise that comes with being young. Because youthfulness is not just about age. Youthfulness is ideas. And that important aspect we must consider is character and values that define the true meaning of Kom. Most specifically, I'm talking of selflessness as the core value that defines Kom here. Kom's unprecedented victory over a superpower boils down to this tradition of selflessness and collectivism, where it was a collective duty of all to defend the supreme interests of Kom using what the Kom people had then. Everyone took upon themselves the selfless duty to defend Kom, such that no regular army was needed. Such selflessness must be a core value of all youth who are engaged in this very crucial and timely vocational assistance project. But we cannot forget the economic dimension of this, because we have to be realistic to the context. Up to 90% of The entire population of Cameroon, including Com, are engaged in the informal sector. That's a fact across the entire African continent. And most of them are engaged in the agricultural sector that employs a majority of up to 53% of this informal sector workforce. This then means that the youth trained in these vocational skills will need to focus on producing goods and services that the informal sector actors, especially those in the agro value chain, can be able to assess and can be able to tap into. And environmentally, we cannot be oblivious to the realities we face today, whether it is mudslides or landslides or flooding affecting our Com brothers and sisters and across the entire country and even the continent. Com is no longer a stranger to environmental degradation, and now with climate change, we will see much more events that will plunge thousands of people into suffering. This is reality. But the core underpinning is socioeconomic. If a mother cannot put food on the table, no matter what you tell him or her, no jargon will mean anything. And that it means that this project premise as a socioeconomic tool to empower the Com people should be seen through that lens, that resilience and socioeconomic resilience must be integrated into these actions. And the last aspect, the financial aspect, cannot be traditional financing. We cannot afford to do traditional financing anymore with such a powerful and innovative project. We must leverage on our strength. You can only work with what you have. We must leverage on community level cooperatives. Through this vocational assistance project, we must leverage on an inclusive rather than an exclusive approach in what I call cooperating around solutions, where every idea, whether it is youth being trained, they get clustered together to work together, and what they work and get or the solution, the device, it ends up generating opportunities that can generate revenue that is plowed back to community savings. If we do not cultivate that culture, the dependency mentality, no matter how much amount we will ever raise, will never ever be able to transform the Com community. This constitutes the financial context that the vocational assistance project will need to be driven from to ensure low-risk, self-sustaining financing of impactful actions into the future. A very simple example of this business model that I've already mentioned that we can be able to deploy is that each of the 43 villages in Com will be expected to nominate willing youth. It is easy, this can be done. We've done it elsewhere, who then go into training in the various areas on offer, be it mental artisans or tradesmen or hairdressers or seamstresses and tailors or stonemasons. The list goes on, but a clear coordination mechanism. And I'm really excited to hear from the committee chair that this is already happening. Because the reality is that without a very clear coordination mechanism on the ground that understand the fundamentals, the sustainability enablers, we may end up doing traditional projects that might not be able to lift Com from the bottom of the pyramid. You would therefore need a very dedicated team to be coordinating and reporting back on progress. It's but a team that can also be able to absorb innovation. Bobe's and Nawines of Com, this is the business model that I believe can be able to add value. My role today as a keynote was not to tell you what you don't know, but was just to say it differently. And I leave you with 4 fundamental principles that I think we should never forget. You cannot tell a hungry child that you gave him or her food yesterday. That child is hungry at that particular point. And anything you do that doesn't answer to the needs or responds to the needs of that child will mean nothing. Fundamentals are non-negotiable. Whatever actions that we undertake in the Com community back home, that we undertake in this innovative program, will need to take on an enterprising dimension. We must be able to groom entrepreneurs. We must be able to groom people who understand that they can also be job creators and not job seekers, that they can act within the spheres of selflessness and not selfishness, that they can be able to work collectively and not individually, that they can also inspire others to know that they matter. This is the way to go. And that takes me to the second point. We cannot miss the aspect of inspiration. Inspiring passion is a project on its own. I call passion the new currency of now. Passion is a fuel that implements. It's not positions that implement. To put this in perspective, just imagine that the money that we're going to raise today was to be divided among the over 46,000 inhabitants of Com. How much do you think would end up in each pocket? How many fundraisers will you need to organize to generate enough? The truth is that we will never have enough. That's the truth of life. And the truth of life is we will never have enough. Regardless of how much we contribute, even if we contribute $3 trillion US today, the problems of Com will never ever be solved. That's a fact. It's been proven. What am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is that we will play our part. We will have to raise funds, but it cannot substitute the 99% of individual passion that drives implementation. The point I am making here is that what implements is not material resources alone, but the unquenchable fire that wells from within an individual called passion. If we miss this, we'll be on the right course of history, but we might not achieve optimal impact. Inspiring and igniting passion in our brothers and sisters back home is one of the most important and one of the biggest project actions we can ever undertake. So we must infuse this aspect of inspiration into this vocational assistance project so that people can discover what they have inside them, because what they need is themselves. But sometimes they think that they need only us. We can only play our part. 99%, they have to play theirs. Passion is the fuel that moves ideas into real solutions. It is what keeps one going. It is what fuels persistence. It is what fuels perseverance until success is achieved. But what ignites passion is very simple, what I call an unborrowed vision, which simply means a purposeful pursuit to do something that is bigger than yourself, regardless of whether you're going to get material gain in it or not, and become useful in touching many lives. This is the biggest sustainability, and the actions of the Komnamites must seek to inspire and nurture such an unborrowed vision in all the Com youth, in every engagement that we undertake within this project. It then becomes a project on its own, which each and every one of us, regardless of how old we are or how young we are, must take as an individual responsibility. That we must do. Passion is the real winner. Because regardless of what we contribute, if it falls on passionless youth, then no transformation will ever occur in Com. Let the selection of beneficiary youth prioritize those who have a passion to touch many lives, those who are selfless, those who can work with others, and then stories of the transformation as individuals and the many lives they have touched with their actions will then become a groundswell source of inspiration for others. That has worked elsewhere. It should work in Com. That takes me to the third point. We must reboot our Com narrative leveraging on global soft power. Com is a feeling, as I said, but I've heard many at times decry the negative press coverage that is given to Africa, especially Africans themselves. Regardless of where you look, the mainstream narrative, if you just go to Facebook or Twitter, the mainstream narrative of Africa is one of extreme adversity. Yes, disease. Yes, hunger. It's one of a defeated people, a dependent people. And to an extent, that's true. The only way to change it is by projecting solutions through social media tools like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. We can accomplish this very effectively, and I will appreciate if the Komnamite Twitter handle or Facebook handle be beautified by success stories coming out of this project, by the impacts coming out of this vocational project, vocational assistance program, and let these solutions be the main theme that project positive impact, not always sometimes showing on enjoyment photos. And that takes me to my last point. Work only with willing, who are ready to embrace selflessness as a core principle. You cannot change the whole world in a day, but you can start from somewhere. One of the critical enablers that I've learned throughout my career to date is that if you spend your time thinking you will move everyone at the same time, your guess is as good as mine, and you know what will happen. Grass will grow for your feet, as they say in pidgin English. One of these most critical enablers of sustainability in undertaking anything is a willing people. An empowered, willing citizenry of Com is the most critical resource that we need today. Is the most critical resource that we need for development. Com is no different. And Com can be the shining city on a hill. Yes, it is already, but through this vocational assistance project, we can also show the world that things can be done differently. but we need self-motivated persons who are ready to embrace the purposeful enterprising business model that I've shared. As you already know, or must have known, not everyone who chased the zebra caught it, but he who caught the zebra chased it. This African proverb is a reminder that each of us, regardless of where we come from and stand at this particular moment, it doesn't really matter which part of Com you come from. It doesn't really matter which part of Cameroon you come from. It doesn't really matter which part of Africa you come from. It doesn't really matter which part of the globe you come from. We are one. To all our brothers and sisters, we are one. But one thing we should know is that we have the same chance to succeed. To succeed, we have the same chance. Our Heavenly Father made it clear in Scripture that the race is not for the swift, or the battle to the strong, no food to the wise, or wealth to the brilliant, or favor to the learned. But time and chance happen to all of us. Today, I speak before you as one who was born and nurtured and raised in Chinque, a town associated with flying juju called Chufutan. And I believe a lot of you know about that. But I am one among the many billions of people across the globe whose living proof that God is no respecter of persons. It does not matter what your background is. What makes the difference is our personal decisions to take chances that come our way and to do so with passion, and to do so with humility, and to do so with determination, while being humble and selfless in the entire process. Let us take this chance now and focus on selflessly driving the implementation of this vocational assistance project. And we will truly unlock the tangible blessings that God has put in common for the collective benefit of all. God bless. Ayona.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to applaud that keynote so mightily. What can I say? Maybe I should ask you people, what should we say? Wow.